Today, the United States Supreme Court begins a new term. Many people are excited because there is at least one case on the docket that is going to call Roe versus Wade, or the ruling that protects abortion in the United States, into question. Now, before we celebrate the idea that this case is going to be going before a conservative court, we may have something else to consider. It might not be the slam dunk that we think it's going to be. In fact, the timing on this case, I'm afraid, may cause it to not turn out the way many of us would expect it. I'm going to let you know why that is, and another reason that we need to be in serious prayer for our court. As always, be sure to click the like button on the video. Make sure you click share to help spread the word. And don't forget to get over to the Facebook page and make sure you give us a follow so you can keep up to date on these videos as well as the podcast conversations that come out of More Than a Conversation. As the Supreme Court kicks off this new term, there are so many cases that are shaping up to be landmark cases in our nation's legal history. You have a case of a Guantanamo Bay prisoner seeking to get some information regarding CIA contractors that he claims tortured him while he was at Guantanamo Bay, and whether or not revealing information about them would be revealing state secrets. The Boston Marathon bomber, one of the Boston Marathon bombers, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, his death sentence was recently overturned by an appeals court, and now the Supreme Court's going to be taking up that case. Some other cases that are coming up on November the 3rd, the New York State Rifle and Pistol Club is going to be involved in a case that will be, for the first time in many years, the Supreme Court speaking into the Second Amendment. That case in particular is about a New York State law that's very restrictive of carrying guns outside of the home, and so that's going to be a big case. On December 8th, there's going to be another case that Christians are going to be wanting to pay attention to. The Supreme Court will be hearing arguments regarding a Maine law that excludes religious schools from being included in a state tuition program. So that's going to be quite a large case. And then, of course, probably the case that most of us are most familiar with and have been hearing about is the Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health. Now, that's the case out of Mississippi that is believed to be an opportunity for the court to overturn Roe v. Wade. But while many are excited that this might happen, there is a possibility that it may simply be too soon for such a change to happen. Now, why is it that it would be too soon? The first thing we have to recognize is that the United States Supreme Court is under fire. I know for us it's hard to think that anyone would be attacking the Supreme Court, and it seems almost absurd with all the other conversations that are happening. But right now, the Supreme Court of the United States is probably its most vulnerable for attacks as being partisan, as not being an institution that can be trusted, since perhaps many would say Bush v. Gore with the deciding of the election. But there have been other times throughout history that the court has struggled with its legitimacy. And now we are seeing the court's standing called into question once again. And Justice John Roberts, Chief Justice John Roberts, is being very, very conscious of this, as well are many of the other justices. In fact, recently, Justice Amy Coney Barrett at the McConnell Center at the University of Louisville, she said, "My goal is to convince you that this court is not comprised of partisan hacks." Now, when we think about that, why would Amy Coney Barrett, why would she feel the necessity to go out and say we are not partisan hacks if there were not an attack out there saying that they were? So she's on the defense, but she's not the only one that's on the defense. Recently, Justice Stephen Breyer went on CNN with Fareed Zakaria, and there he tried to defend the court's standing, the court's nonpartisan institution reputation, if you will. That's not the only person who had something to say. Recently, Clarence Thomas also has spoken out against critics of the court. Now, this matters because when you have people who are wanting us to know, when you have people on the Supreme Court that are wanting us to understand that the court is not partisan, that are wanting us to see that the court is staying out of politics, that the court can be trusted, that means that they are feeling pressure. The Supreme Court justices are feeling pressure for us to know that they are not partisan. Now, this matters. It matters because every member of this court is a human. And the fact is, humans are going to react as humans do. And no matter the ideas of justice, no matter the integrity of the individuals, people can be moved by the pressure that's put on them. We've seen this before. In fact, one of the most famous cases of that may be in Justice Clarence Thomas. It has been said that Justice Thomas was more moderate than he is now, but based upon the accusations and the character assassination that he was put through by the Democrats during the time of his confirmation, that pushed him further to the right. Many of his friends and colleagues have made that comment. So we understand that people can move. People's ideologies can be pushed. We've also seen it in the Supreme Court rulings since Chief Justice John Roberts has been in position. He has sometimes ruled in ways that seem like he is concerned about maintaining the balance of the court, perhaps even going against what may have been the ideology many would have assumed he would have ascribed to. He has tried to strike the balance. So we understand that these human beings, when they feel the pressure, can be pushed. And the issue there is that abortion is a highly volatile issue. Abortion is an issue that people care deeply about. And when people care deeply about it, even an institution like the Supreme Court, understanding the political divide, understanding all that's happening, they can feel the pressure. And that is where timing comes in. Now, when we talk about timing, it's important that we understand that right now the United States is as divided as it has ever been. Not only is the United States as divided as it has ever been, we are also seeing calls right now for the court to be flooded with more justices. We're seeing people like Justice Stephen Breyer who are being basically asked by people in the public. They're being called out for not retiring. In fact, over the last year, we've seen Ruth Bader Ginsburg go from being a hero to being a heel in the minds of some on the left because she held on to her position and did not retire when Barack Obama could have appointed her successor. So we see so much pressure, so many people pushing on the court, and we understand that the court is made up, again, of human justices. So right now, you've got the retirement of Ginsburg that didn't happen being politicized. Stephen Breyer at the moment feeling the pressure to retire. You've got John Roberts moving to the middle to try to balance things. So here is where we find ourselves in this moment. It could be that these justices, it could be that the human beings that fill those black robes may find themselves facing these difficult situations. You've got cases like gun rights. You've got cases like state tuition going to religious schools. You've got abortion. And when they see the pressure mounting, when they see them as an institution being called political, and when they see the possibility that if they anger the left while the left has power, while the left could possibly flood the courts maybe, when they see that possibility there, I wonder if they may rule in a way that is either so narrow that it doesn't change law, it doesn't overturn Roe v. Wade, or they may go against what they believe to be proper jurisprudence, what they believe to be the actual rule of law. They may go against their own understanding in order to save their institution. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I am saying it is a high possibility that the timing of this case coming right now, coming in this moment, might just put this case in peril. So this is what we need to be in prayer about. We need to be praying for those Supreme Court justices. We need to be praying that God will give them resolve. We need to be praying that God will give them wisdom. We need to be praying for the people that are going to be arguing these cases, that this institutional pressure will not affect what must be done, and this atrocity of abortion must end in our nation. And here's the thing. We know Roe v. Wade was a court decision. This is not something that's going to be legislated. We're going to need those 9 justices. We're going to need at least 5 of them to come down on the right side of this issue. We're going to need them to put truth and law above protecting their institution. And let's hope that that happens. Let's pray for their resolve, their integrity, their adherence to truth, and their adherence to do their job and fulfill their oath. Something else for us to pray about. Again, we don't know what's going to happen, but it may be that Roe v. Wade is being called into question too soon for it to get a fair hearing. Let's pray that that doesn't happen, and let's pray that when December gets here, that the right thing happens in our nation. God bless you all, and be sure that you get over there to More Than a Conversation, like the page, give it a follow, get over and subscribe to the podcast, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And be sure, again, let me close with this. Let's be in prayer for these 9 justices.